How to Create a Great Portrait by Laura Walton. There are 4 main topics that make a great portrait. They are good lighting, position of camera and subject, background, and props. For this podcast, we'll be covering the first topic of lighting, the most important in any portrait. There are 2 things you must know about lighting, which are the direction of light, the position of light on the face, which creates shadows and highlights. Once you learn to master these 2 keys, you'll be able to create better portraits. The first thing you must understand is light direction. The placement of light, as shown here, shows the direction of the nose shadow, which I have also pointed out. When you are taking a portrait, you must look for the nose shadow to find out the direction of light. In the studio, it is much easier than outdoors. When you are outdoors, it is much harder to see the nose shadow on the face, to see the direction of the light. You must move the model, not the light source. When you're working with the sun as your light source, you must remember you have to move your model, not your light source, but you still need to have some kind of nose shadow. Light positions vary between studio and outdoor. The biggest difference is that in the studio, you can move the main light source, and outdoors you cannot. You have to learn to move the model into the light to create the same effect on the shadows as you can in the studio. It will just take more practice. There are 2 things that you must know when working with light position, that is shadows and highlights. When you are taking a portrait, you must have shadows and highlights so that your image is not flat. The most important shadow in a portrait is the nose shadow, because it molds the face by using contrast. There are 3 kinds of nose shadows: butterfly, open loop, and Rembrandt. A butterfly nose shadow is directly under the nose, which is created by the light being above and slightly in front of the nose, which creates the direction of the shadow below the nose. You must be careful in creating this nose shadow so it does not fall into the smile of the model. Rembrandt nose shadow is created when the light source is to the side of the model. This is created when you turn the face towards the light, but also the light must be slightly higher so that the nose shadow will meet with the shadow of the cheek, creating a triangle of light under the eye. The open loop nose shadow is most common. This is created by turning the head of the model towards the light, which will bring the nose shadow forward on the cheek, but you want it to come straight off the bottom of the nose into the cheek and not bleed into the eye. Highlights are just as important as shadows. They create the contrast. There are 2 kinds of highlights. There are catch lights and separation highlights. The catch light is what makes the eyes look alive. The way that you catch the light is created by positioning the model so that the light will be caught at 11 or 3 in the eye. The separation light is what separates the background from the model and creates more of a contrast. This is how you create a great portrait.